It's 2020 and I'm rocking a flip phone. The Galaxy Z Flip is here and I've been using it as my daily driver for the past week. It's not the fastest phone that Samsung offers or one that has the best camera, but there is something so satisfying about opening and closing the flip. Is it nostalgia? Perhaps, but the Z Flip isn't a one-trick pony. While it may not be able to match the specs of the Galaxy S20 series, it's still plenty fast and comes with a decent camera. The design on the Z Flip feels solid and premium. I haven't dropped it yet, so don't ask me how durable it is. But it's got two glass panels on the outside, so I'd say it's about as durable as any other glass phone. It doesn't completely fold flat. There's a tiny gap when you close it, just about enough to slide a business card through it. Another question I get asked is if the phone is pocketable. Over the last few years, we've moved to large screens. The S20 Ultra has a gigantic 6.9-inch screen. That's almost the size of a tablet a few years ago. The 6.7-inch screen on the Flip sounds big, but it folds nicely and tucks away into your pocket without any effort, almost like a wallet. The funny thing is that more than once I've opened the phone upside down. You need to actively look or feel the camera bump to open it the right side up. One more thing that needs to be mentioned about the design is the hinge on the Galaxy Z Flip. Samsung spent a good amount of time talking about the engineering that went behind this hinge, and I'm sure it's very impressive. What I can tell you is that the screen is very steady and there's no wobble if you have the screen open. You do need a little bit of pressure opening and closing the phone, but it is doable with one hand. When open, the Z Flip sits on your desk pretty much like any other slab phone, and that's how I mostly kept it. A lot of times my colleagues didn't even realize that it was a foldable phone until I picked it up and flexed it. It's a bit taller and narrower than other phones and has a screen with an aspect ratio of 22:9. This means that any 16:9 videos that you watch will have larger black bars, and zooming in crops quite a bit of that video. But 21:9 videos look better, so that's the trade-off. There's only one bottom-firing speaker, which is loud, but an extra speaker on the earpiece would have made watching videos on this phone a better experience. The screen itself is much nicer to look at than the Motorola Razr, especially in daylight. It's bright and the colors are vivid, which I think has something to do with the ultra-thin glass Samsung has used. Let's talk about that for a minute. Recent online videos show that there is a mighty thin glass layer, thinner than your hair, and it sits behind a plastic layer, so this phone can technically be almost as easily scratched as the Galaxy Fold. Having said that, I've had the Galaxy Fold for a few months and the screen is still in immaculate condition. Just show some TLC to your phone and you'll be fine. There is a crease in the middle of the phone that's more visible against lighter background, but it's something I stopped noticing after a couple of days. It's kinda like a notch. It's in your face for the first few days, but then you accept it and slowly forget that it even existed. There is a very tiny 1-inch screen on the outside of the Z Flip. That's mostly good for seeing the time. You can see notifications on it through scrolling text. Yep, I would like to see the screen get bigger on the next version of this phone, very much like what Motorola has done with the new Razr, where you can easily read full notifications. Because of the foldable nature of this phone, Samsung has placed the wireless charging coil on the bottom half, so you might want to check your wireless charger if it supports the Flip. I have a Belkin that refuses to charge the Flip because the mechanism on that is a little bit higher. Like the S10e, which was probably my favorite S10 device from last year, the power button along with the fingerprint sensor as well as the volume buttons are placed on the right side. And just like the S10e, I wish they were lower on the Flip as well. Ideally, the power button should have been located on the lower half of the phone with the volume buttons where the current power button is. There is a selfie camera when you flip the phone open that also serves the purpose of facial recognition. It doesn't really do that good of a job unlocking the phone. I think a 3D camera such as the one found on the iPhone or the Huawei Mate series would have been an ideal biometric solution for the Z Flip. Yes, I know that based on current technologies that would have created a notch, but it would have also created a better unlocking experience. Although the Galaxy Z Flip features last year's specs, it's plenty fast. Never during my testing did I find this phone slow. Samsung has equipped it with the Snapdragon 855 Plus processor, 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of expandable storage. The camera is pretty much the same 12 megapixel from the Galaxy S10 series last year, which means that it's not the best that Samsung offers, but it's still reasonable, pretty good actually. The main camera is complemented by a 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor as well, which is the exact configuration we saw on the S10e last year. Getting to the cameras is not as quick as traditional phones. You do need to flip the screen opens and then launch the camera app. You can take selfies quickly by double pressing the power button, though you'll have to deal with the world's tiniest viewfinder. Samsung has updated the camera software on the Galaxy Z Flip to match the S20 series. There is now a single take mode that takes a 10-second video and creates multiple images and videos out of it. There are a couple of other neat software tricks too on the Z Flip. There is this new laptop mode called Flex Mode, where you can position the Flip as a laptop and use the top half of the screen independently than the bottom half. For example, you can see the main photo in the Gallery app on the top screen and use the bottom screen for navigation. The Galaxy Z Flip isn't just a phone, it's a throwback to the lifestyle we loved, flipping our phones open to answer calls or snapping them to end, and it still feels quite awesome. The more I use it, the more I like the Galaxy Flip, which is a bit weird. I've always been on the opinion that a foldable phone should increase your screen estate like the Galaxy Fold. Priced at 5,500 dirhams, the Galaxy Z Flip isn't cheap, but I can understand where Samsung is coming from. Foldable screens are still new and not as strong as glass panels that average consumers are used to. And considering how often we break our regular screens, Samsung probably just wants devices like the Flip or Fold in the hands of people that treat it carefully. Foldable phones will go down in prices as technology matures. That's just how it is in the tech world. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please feel free to ask any questions in the comment section below. This is Abbas signing out, and stay tuned to Tech Radar for everything in the world of tech.